Hi guys, welcome back to my show Into the Light, a different life story with me, your host, Stefan Nath. Check us out on YouTube, check us out as a podcast, and don't forget to subscribe down there. Subscribe that button that you don't miss any of the shows coming up. Every week we're gonna talk to fantastic people. And today, indeed, I've got Nathan Brye with me. Nathan Brye was once upon a time, not so long ago, a lost boy. But he decided to change his life. He decided to transform. And from the lost boy, nowadays we have got a beautiful, quirky, cheeky mixture of author, comedian, with a sprinkle of madness over it, and just exactly what you want and exactly what you probably need in 2021 around the world. So, Nath, thank you so much for coming onto my show.
Thank you, Stefan. Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
We are in New Zealand. You hear the Harley Davidson just going past the house.
Correct.
It's Christchurch. Okay, there are a few Harleys driving down there. So straight from Christchurch. So we're actually in the same time zone, which makes a huge difference because normally I've got my guests sort of, for them it's evening and I can barely hold my eyes open because it's 4:00 in the morning or something like that. So
I'm the same. All my podcasts are usually from hosts in the USA, so I've got to get up at 3:30, 4 a.m. before work, and I'm just like,
I know.
Has someone got some cocaine? I need to wake up.
Well,
give me some A-class.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. You're in Christchurch. There should be a good supply down there. I mean, for crying out loud. So for those of you guys who don't know Christchurch, Christchurch is sort of pretty much the biggest town in the South Island of New Zealand. And unfortunately, the earth down there was quite shaky a little wee while ago. So a major earthquake down there. And now, in response, there is a massive reconstruction campaign going on. Everyone and his dog is building and rebuilding. And therefore, if you live anywhere else in New Zealand and you want a builder, about that. They happen to be all down there in Christchurch. And Nath, that's what you're doing at the moment, isn't it? You're working in construction.
I'm civil construction, so it's footpaths, roadings, gutters, construction sites, earthworks, stuff like that.
No, which is beautiful. And it is, unfortunately, we do live on the Pacific Rim of Fire. You can't just wish it away. That is, the earth does funky things, which is really, really great. If you're a tourist and you want to come to Christchurch or to Rotorua here, Rotorua is great. It's if you drive through Rotorua in the winter, it feels like a kind of horror movie because out of every canalization vent, there's steam coming out, and sort of the whole thing looks like a sort of a scene from Fog, the fog of the darkness. And it's just, that is Rotorua. And our earth crust is about 20 centimeters thick. So, that is what we are, like it or lump it. So guys, as soon as you can, come to us, say hello to beautiful Christchurch, say hello to us and have a damn good time, because that's what this is all about. But having a damn good time, for that, your mind needs to be in the right frame of mind. And sometimes we all get so lost. And you were a lost boy 5 years ago. And why was that? What was your setting at that time?
I'd always wanted to be a creative person through my teenage years. But as we know, life gets in the way of what we want to do sometimes. And so I was just like a lot of people, going from job to job, happy enough, but not totally happy. And then it wasn't really until I started stand-up comedy when I was 38. I was like, oh, that's right. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be in a creative field. And that's what, my life took a change in direction. And I finally got to be on stage again and started writing again. And that's where led me to where I am now.
Was there a catalyst? What made you one day decide to go for stand-up comedy?
I think in my mind, I'd always wanted to give it a go. But starting stand-up comedy, it's a big step.
Oh, shit, yeah.
And then I saw an open mic night advertised in Wellington, which is not where I live. And I was like, my friends live there. Maybe I can go for a weekend and get on this open mic and try it out. So I flew to Wellington, did my first stand-up, loved it, didn't look back. And it's funny because I didn't know Christchurch had a comedy scene, and someone in Wellington said, oh, they've got a great comedy scene. So they gave me the contacts of the people, and I got back to Christchurch and full steam ahead in comedy.
Huh. Okay, I didn't realize that. That is, you just see the odd sign somewhere, here certainly in Rotorua, but I'm sure if one starts digging, then enough thespians will fall out of the various woodworks, and here you go. No, okay, how cool is that? But so, did you always make people laugh? Is that part of you? You called yourself cheeky earlier on. Is that
very cheeky? Always the class clown. Always doing stupid things to make people laugh. Not always successfully. I mean, the class clown, I think the biggest way to put it during my high school year, I was always a bit of a dick, but I didn't mind that because it got people laughing and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the attention, to be honest. And that's what I get when I'm on stage. I get the attention, I get the laughs, I get people with me in the moment, and it's fantastic.
Many class clowns are actually deeply shy and are using their alter persona to do that. Does that fit for you, or is that no?
Through high school, I was very much a major extrovert, non-stop talking. Just that's who I was.
Okay.
As I've become an author, I've retreated into myself a little bit more, so I'm not quite the major extrovert used to be. Around people I'm comfortable with, I'm still very flamboyant, and that's who I am, but not as much as I used to be. It's just funny when you start the journey of, as you probably know, writing a book, you go inward a bit, you look in and you live inside yourself. So you start to get away from being such a flamboyant person, extrovert. You're just kind of in your own little world. I don't mind that for now. So it's only my close friends and family to see the flamboyant Nathan. So.
And the flamboyant knave is, of course, the fun knave, the knave who is having a good time out there. And I love to be that person. I must say that in my own life, I needed initially fueling with Dutch courage to actually get into that, because I think intrinsically I was probably shy when I was younger, but then bring me the alcohol and suddenly I don't care that I can't sing. Give me the guitar and I play. And guess what? The girls loved it like moths to the flame. I was the biggest freaking bullshitter and bloody hell, cheeky. Yes, of course. It was what it was. And, that was you anyhow in your younger times. You then went into construction. And then
not straight away. I was a life in hospitality. I started as a porter in a hotel at 16 in a 5-star hotel.
Right.
And my whole life was hospitality. It's only been in the last 5 or 6 years I've gone away from hospitality and tried other outlets. Hospitality, as you know, is unsocial hours. It's a very social industry. There's a lot of drinking, a lot of partying.
No shit, Sherlock.
But it's not conducive to good relationships with your friends and family and your partners and your loved ones, because you're working some very bad hours. And now that I'm in construction, I appreciate my weekends, and I would never give them up ever again. This is the first job I've had where I didn't work weekends in 42 years. So, my weekends are mine.
Exactly. And there is a certain freedom there because, as you quite rightly say, if you work in hospitality, it is very normal to then close down the kitchen and have a drink, or have a break and have a drink, or have a drink for whatever other reasons there could be.
Many drinks.
Oh, hell yes. Hell yes. And it is what it is. In that time, that was in Aussie, wasn't it?
Australia and New Zealand. I was in hospitality.
Both. Yeah. So, Did drugs play a big role there?
In Australia, it did. I dabbled a little bit in high school, just tried things. But it wasn't until I went to Australia where it was a lot more easily accessible. The drugs were cheaper over there, better quality. I mean, the first friend I made over there was a quote-unquote pharmacist. And so, in a very short period of time, I think I was only been there 2 weeks, working full-time in an Italian kitchen, and he had me out and trying Class A.
Typically uppers? Was there a lot of cocaine and things like that around?
No, it was mainly ecstasy and then LSD.
All right.
As I said, it was a bit of speed now and then, but it was recreation and then eventually heavy recreation. I wasn't an addict in any way, shape or form, though I think if I'd stayed in the scene longer, potentially I would have got there. But thankfully, I had a friend that gave me a verbal slapping and I stopped the heavy recreation. So
beautiful. The slapping. Good on you for listening to that friend. Too many times we don't listen to those friends. If people start annoying you, these are probably your friends. Whilst the people that if they don't annoy you, if you're happy with them, they're probably supporting your habit. So I think that's a good way of looking at it. So you were doing initially porter, then you worked in a restaurant. Did you work behind the scenes? Were you a chef? Did you go down that route, or was it front of house, or what did you do?
I was mainly front office in hotels, so porter, receptionist, night auditor, duty manager, night manager, front office manager. But I did switch to food and beverage later in my adult life, so barman, bar manager, and then in Australia, kitchen hand, and then pizza chef in an Italian restaurant. So I did that for a little bit, and I really enjoyed the pizza section. It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot of good skills.
I was about to say we need to talk. I wrote a book about the perfect German or dangerously good German pizzas called Flammkuchen. Ooh. Yeah, so here you go. So, and I've got a pizza oven in the garden. So, okay. So, sorry, guys, just go for a coffee for a moment whilst Nath and I quickly... I'm kidding. Stay here, guys. But no, it is so your life took turns and you sort of saw where the opportunities were leading you, and there were new jobs coming along. And I just
bounced from one opportunity to the next. There was no fixed plan. I knew I wanted to be a senior manager in a hotel, but I took the time to get there. And just bounced from job to job, enjoying life.
Did you know then that you wanted to be creative, or was your focus more on surviving and actually getting money?
Surviving, getting money, and partying. Once
in that sequence,
partying was kind of up there.
Exactly.
But the creative side of me, that kind of stopped when I left high school.
Right.
In my early 20s, when I was partying, I did write as an outlet, just like short stories and some really bad poetry. I think we all go through that stage, don't we?
I wrote songs. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Whereas I couldn't write songs. I could play other people's, but I could never write my own music, which is something really weird. I come from a family of musicians.
All right.
And as I said, I could play covers of other people's stuff, but I could never write my own songs.
Oh, don't worry, mine were shit. So I don't think they will ever be written or played or sung by anyone. Rest assured. Oh no. Well, it is what it is, isn't it? We're dabbling, and you and it's good that we dabble. It's good that we try different things out, different hobbies. What was when you were not doing drugs or having a party, let's call it like that, and when you were not working hard, what made you tick? Who were you? Reading. Oh,
reading and sleeping.
Right.
Reading and sleeping. I was a fantasy reader. I love my fantasy, my sci-fi fantasy. It's what I read. When I read, I want to escape. So I don't read a lot of non-fiction. I want to escape into that world and just forget about the shit that's happening out the front door for a second. That's what I do. So when I wasn't partying or working hard, it was reading and relaxing. I was a big PC gamer for many years. I love my video games, although that's not conducive to good writing. So that's been left behind in the last couple of years. It does waste a lot of time. And time, as you know, is the biggest commodity we have. So
time is everything. That's indeed right. But having said that, you don't realize that when you're in the middle of your kind of life that you take for granted. You need to run into a few problems in your life. You need to run into a few challenges before you actually appreciate how much time is important and how beautiful every single second is. Because you can now experience that second. You will not know what happens in 5 minutes. You don't know if tomorrow is guaranteed. But it sounds like weird, mystical, philosophical shit, for us. But come on here, construction worker in Christchurch. Yeah, and we are talking about the kind of, Larry Ferry kind of things. Yeah, they're not Larry Ferry. Fairy Larry? I don't know. I've heard it both words, both ways. I think that the reality is something triggered you. Something rattled your cage enough that you said, oh, okay, enough of the floating around. To start off with, what made you leave Aussie?
I was missing my kids.
Sure.
I had 2 children from my first marriage. And when the mother of my children met her new partner, I was like, well, maybe it's time I go to Australia and find myself and give her some space to form the family unit. That's how I explained it to myself. In actual fact, I was just running away. I won't lie. I was running to Aussie to find myself and do some drugs and party.
So you did the mummy and daddy thing. How old were the kids when you left, when you separated?
When I separated, son was 3, my daughter was 1, so very early. Sorry, that was when they went. I think it was 4 and 2 when I went to Australia. But I called them once a month. They got presents, they got letters. So I was always, trying to stay a part of their lives. Which is amazing how much partying I did. I still managed to keep in touch.
And good on you, man. Good on you. And we all make decisions that we have to do. You have to do what you got to do. And in this case, you needed to find yourself. You needed to go towards that selfish period.
Yes.
And it is an important bit of you. You need to be selfish at some stage in your life, make all the stupid decisions. And some of us make them earlier, some of them make them later. I've had in a country far, far away, I met many men, for example, who were happily married, who had 2 free children, and then in their 40s, they decided, well, actually, I am gay. I'm coming out. And they came out in ways that you would think, whoa, how many men did you sleep with last night? You did what? Kind of a thing. They really lived it up. So, and with that, I'm, please, in no way speaking negative. I'm saying that every man, every woman will have a wild period in their life, and it will come. Some of us got it out of the way when we were younger. Others, they're still waiting to happen. But it will be a period of selfishness and of bad choices. And those of you who look down upon us about our choices, I just say, wait. It will come.
It will.
So, but then you decided, no, enough is enough. I've played enough. And now it's time to come home to Christchurch. And it must have been quite a bit of a culture shock again to come back.
Yeah, coming back, it was just trying to find where I fitted in, reconnecting with family, reconnecting with friends. I struggled to get a job the first couple of months. I had to live with my parents on their property. But it all fitted in. And I still hadn't found myself. Like, I don't believe I grew up until 35, 36. And started to be on the journey of the person I'm becoming now. But that's fine. Some of the most interesting people I know have never grown up. And, there's always going to be that aspect of childness, like childlike qualities to me, because I don't want to lose that ability that little kids have where they look at the world and go, wow. You don't want to lose that. You've got to be mesmerized by certain things.
But also we need to learn to appreciate that again. I was brought up to focus. get your work done. And,
Yeah.
you know, money is everything. Social status is everything. And there was no room to playing and exploring and doing crazy things. Wasn't really supported. And that is something which I'm learning now. I'm learning that it is okay to make mistakes, that it is okay to not be the best, that it is okay to start a new hobby and make yourself look like a dick in it because you have no idea. What, you know, it is. I've become very good in being a dick, in the sense of being a newbie in something. I try every month to learn a new skill. So and it could be shooting, it could be playing the guitar. I see a lovely guitar there. And I played the guitar as a young man. Nowadays, yeah, exactly. Nowadays, God, when was the last time I played? I spoke French good enough to actually have 2 French girlfriends, although it was probably a lot of non-verbal communication going on at that time. Seemed to have been quite good in that. And so I decided, what do you get yourself? You get yourself a decent French dictionary and say, well, okay, if I could do it when I was 18, why not relearn French, do it now? Yeah. And that is what I'm doing. So right now in my life, there is actually very little that stops me. There is only the lack of imagination that stops me learning something new, doing something new. I've become quite disinhibited in a really cool way. When I read a cool book and I say, damn, that impressed me, I look up the author and, where are you? Okay, I want you on my show because your book was really bloody good. And it turns out that he's the Mr. Guru whatsoever. Well, the only thing that can happen to me is that he either doesn't reply, or like 2-3 days ago, I got a lovely email back saying, "Oh, thank you very much for your accolades and for how you described my book. But look, I'm so flat out with other projects. I'm sorry, I can't come on your show." But that in its own right was a beautiful experience to jump over my shadow, the shy guy in me actually writing to a really good high level author and getting that message back. That was a feel good kind of moment. And that's really, really cool. I guess that's with you, with your comedy. You jump over your shadow. Do you get stage fright? Do you get nerves?
No. Well, yes and no. Like, I grew up on the stage. At high school, I was in all the high school musicals. I did theatre sports, I did debating, I did public speaking. Cool. The senior years in high schools, I usually had the lead roles in all the school musicals.
Oh, cool. So you were really an extrovert. You were out there. Good man.
I wanted to be a famous actor. That was my dream as a teenage young man. But life gets in the way sometimes, and that's okay, you know. I was looking at going to acting school, but it just never eventuated. Yeah. And you know what? I'm not worried about that. I'm not regretful. It's just that's the way life went, you know. And then, I mean, I do get nerves on stage. Like, it's in particular, my nerves are more: is my new material going to land properly? Am I going to remember my new material? Because my memory is getting better, but it's never been the best in my adult life. And so, learning new material and getting it in your brain and the order and stuff, that's what I'm nervous about. So before I'm about to go on stage, I'm usually 5 minutes by myself in the dark corner of the bar, crouched on the floor, fingers in my ears, just focusing. And there's a bit of nerves, but as soon as I pick that microphone up and say hello, into it. Love it.
Same with me. And then, hang on. So if you look at Anthony Hopkins or other actors, many of them have become absolute celebrities way into their 50s, 60s. So, you know, who's to say that we are not talking about the next Robin Williams here, only because so far you haven't.
He is a big inspiration to me. He always was. I loved his comedy. I loved who he was as a person. And
please.
Wasn't just a stand-up comedian to me. He was an entertainer. And he was just a beautiful person. I would have loved to meet him.
Please.
I would have.
Please.
So.
No, it is so beautiful. I recently wrote a book about a gentleman. I don't know where this little vignette came in, but this guy, the author of the book, actually was for a while driving around famous people. And he actually one day had Robin Williams in the back, and Robin was sort of bouncing around out there and then jumping in, was supposed to go to another gig. And the driver looked at him and then took a long detour. And Robin Williams was saying, where are you going? And he said, I think you just need a bit of time out. I think you need a bit of time for yourself. And Robin was a bit of shell-shocked and said, thank you. And just took a moment time out. And it was so beautiful. That little vignette, this man gave everything. This man was out there. And unfortunately, his end showed that we cannot always be out there for everyone else and be out there and not look after ourselves. And it is, yes, a great man. And yeah, what a shame that it ended like that. But I guess what I was trying to say is that you don't know what the future brings. You do not know. And who are we? How dare I stop dreaming? How dare I say, oh no, that's impossible, when in reality, I have no bloody clue. I have never been this old in my life. How am I supposed to know how to behave today? I've never been here. So why not dream? Why not be positive? Why not say, hey, I want to learn circus arts? I've done it when I was 18. I did a year of circus arts. So why not? Why not chuckle again? Why not spit fire? At least now there's no hair there that can get burned. There are advantages having a certain age. Although my eyebrows, there's a risk there. A bit of Vaseline needed.
Yeah,
no, Vaseline burns. Yeah, that's right. But we need to talk about our fathers, don't we?
I have a very mixed bloodline and a very hairy family. So,
and that's just the women. I know.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Oh dear. Stop. This is not comedy. Be serious here. Christ, this is a serious show. Not.
But is it? No.
No. Because life is so beautiful if you can actually just take the mick out of yourself. If you stop.
Self-deprecating humor is very big to me, and people are like, oh, you should insult yourself. But it's like, well, did it make you laugh? Yeah, it did. There you go. It's not so much being negative on yourself. It's just I'm trying to get a laugh from people, make them smile. How I get that smile, I don't care. If I have to insult myself or be a bit silly or whatever, it's, as long as I get that smile.
True. And sometimes if people feel, oh my God, how can you make that joke about yourself, about your weight? That highlights a lot about the issues that they are secretly dealing with. Because if they feel suddenly very touched by your joke, even if you put it onto your own shoulders, that says a lot. And how beautiful is that? Because would that not mean that this is the start of a conversation? If someone is upset about something, does that not mean that maybe there is some work to be done in a really good way of either coming to terms with whatever has just upset you, or actually use it as a sign that your mind is ready to deal with it now? And one way or the other, it is beautiful. So well done, and that's what a good comedian does, isn't it? Of course, you could go into the slapstick kind of routines, etc. That was, that is not really comedy for me. That is, I don't know what that is.
My comedy is very dark. I won't lie. There's some very dark elements to it. But with comedy, you've got to have the spectrum. You've got to have everything. Otherwise a comedy night's boring. You can't all be in the center. You've got to have all extremes, and my stuff can get a bit dark. I talk about divorce and feelings and bad situations on stage, just trying to be a little bit different.
But that's life, and it is that's why I do this show, to demystify these kind of things. Divorces happen. It's a 1 in 2 chance, for crying out loud. It is is 1 in 3 chance that you will have depression in your life. Well, you can also laugh about the weird aspects of depression. You can laugh about the crazy aspects of addiction. Why not? Why not use humor to break down the masks that we hold in front of us, and therefore let the true you come out with a gallow humor? The sheer fact that you're laughing your bloody tears into your eyes on a joke that maybe it wasn't even so funny, but in a moment it just so spoke to you, and it was so surreal that you're just falling to pieces. How bloody good is that? You know?
It's brilliant.
Isn't it? No, comedy, it's the one thing that a good laugh is so powerful, isn't it?
Oh, it is. And I think all comedians are slightly crazy, because getting up and making people laugh is not easy. It's a steep learning curve when you first start comedy as to what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, how to read an audience. How to read an audience is the biggest one. I mean,
Is it not?
I was on a podcast with a comedian from the US a couple of weeks ago, and because he's a comedian, I'm a comedian, we were bouncing stuff off each other, and I was explaining to him I have a tester joke. When I get up to a new city or a new club where there's a new audience I haven't really experienced before, I'll throw this little tester joke out. You know, it's a little bit dark, a little bit light, just chuck it out there. And then from the reaction to that joke, I then know, right, they love that joke, I can go down the dark road. Or they didn't like that, I need to go back to my slightly more cleaner material, you know. It's just a way to test. So...
And that's really, really good, isn't it? Because we had, we've had, not dishing other comedians, but there's, for example, Ben Elton out there, who has got a very in-your-face, dirty routine, very, very crass.
Yeah.
And he is just touring again here in New Zealand. So I thought, my wife and I, we've seen him before. And it was nice for us to go out. We haven't been out for a while. So I tried to surprise her with tickets. And luckily I asked her before and sort of said, you know, Ben Elton is in town. What do you think? I would love to get you prime tickets, prime seats, etc., to treat you. And she said, oh, I love you too. Thank you very much. But can't you remember? We actually didn't like him. We actually found him. And I said, well, actually, now that you say it, yes, it was actually far too brutal. And we actually chose not to. So here you go. So the message to my wife, I love you, got transmitted. So that was good. And she received the message loud and clear. Bingo. But actually, we chose rather not to go down that route of comedy. So it's just, it is what it is. So it's good. But don't apologize for taking some harder topics on in your comedy, because that's what life is all about.
It's you can, once you've got the experience, you can tackle any topic on stage you want. It's just having the experience and the knowledge and how to deal with that topic. I did a set very early on in my comedy, 6 months in, I think. And the set was supposed to come across that I'm a bit of a dick and I struggle with women and I can't, pick up. And the jokes, I think, had good bones to them. They had good potential. But because of my inexperience, the whole set came across as women are all bitches and I can't get laid. That's how it came across because of my inexperience in delivering it. And the first time I tried that set, the whole front row was a hen's night, a wedding party. They hated me, and deservingly so, because I couldn't deliver it the way it was supposed to be delivered. The second night I tried that set a week later, because we were always taught you try gags or sets 3 times, and if they don't work out 3 times, shelve them, go on to something new. The second time I tried it, the whole front row was a whole bunch of lesbian couples, which was beautiful. But once again, they didn't like that material either, and deservingly so. It was not bad material, but it was really shittily delivered. So I've got the video of that night, and I watched it about 3 months ago, and I'm like, ooh, that was so bad, I hope in the future, one day, I get to revisit that set now they've got more experience and write it the way it deserves to be written. Because, as I said, I think it's got potential. I just need to deliver it in the correct manner so I don't look like a complete misogynistic piece of shit.
Oh, so beautifully said.
Oh.
But here you've got the balls to actually go out there and make the mistake and cringe over it.
Yeah.
But that is such a learning curve. That is such a mental scar. That is so important. Embrace the pain. Embrace the suck there, because that makes you a better comedian, better writer.
When we start comedy, like in Christchurch, I'm not sure about the other centres, in Christchurch, there was like a welcome to comedy run by the kind of more professionals in the scene, just laying the ground rules on subjects to stay away from, taboos, how to get booked, what producers like. And one of the rules, there was like, the main rules were like, no rape jokes, which is fair enough. No one wants to hear those. No misogynistic, no punching down. So if you're middle class, you don't punch down on the poor, you always punch up. Stuff like that, But that was really, I've gone to some big comedians in this country and seen them, and they've broken those rules because they know how to break those rules. So a newbie getting up and talking about one of those subjects I just mentioned, it's going to be dismal and horrible, and that's why the rules are in place. But then you see a seasoned professional, and they can tackle and get right to that line and just take you over because they have the knowledge how to do it. You know what I mean? So once you have the knowledge and the craft, there's not much you can't handle. But as I learned in that set about myself and a woman, you wait until you've got more experience before you tackle those subjects,
Oh, a wise word spoken there, man.
I mean, we have to bomb as comedians. You need to bomb on a semi-regular basis because it keeps you hungry. It keeps you motivated, and you don't go stale because you're always trying to improve. You're always trying to, work those jokes. So,
and it's the same.
Sucks, but
but that's the same as us authors. We want to get better. We are. If I look back at the first book I wrote, oh my God, it makes me cringe, and it's the same thing. There is always more that we can learn. How cool is that? How cool is that? You are not at the end. Imagine it's the end now. That's how good as you're going to be ever.
No. Don't like that idea.
No, not at all. None whatsoever. No, I like it. Let me develop. Let me learn. Let me grow. Let me transform. Let me adapt. Let me change. Because that's me. That's the journey I'm on. It's a bloody winding path. I'm making it from there to there and think back, wow, this is how far I come. But then there is just that little curve in the road. And suddenly there is, wow, what a beautiful scenery. And I had no idea that this was coming in my life. So here I am. Yeah, this is, guys, listen to us. This is passion. This is madness. This is creativity. This is stuff that happens because we have gone through dark places. We have gone through hazes of drug-fused, alcohol-fused days, weeks, months where you think, yeah, that 1998, I can't remember that year, or was it 2016? Yeah.
I'm so much the same. People say to me, oh, when did that happen? I'm like 5 or 6 years ago. Well, what year was it? I don't remember when things happened. To me, it was like 4 or 5 years ago, or 10 or 12 years ago. It's never, this happened 2015, 2014. I don't know the year it was. If you said to me, when did Halley's Comet come past New Zealand? Okay, I know that. That was 1986. If you ask me, when did I, marry my first wife, I don't know. I don't know the years for things, unfortunately. My brain doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Yeah, and mine was pickled enough for a certain period of time that it didn't pay attention to that. So it's just I tried to maintain my youth by soaking it in alcohol, and it is
How'd that go for you?
Yeah, that's right, exactly. It made me the man who I am now. And for that, I'm grateful. I think that is all I can say about that. And I'm very, very grateful that most of my escapades happened at times when phones didn't have cameras in them. Okay.
Bingo.
Exactly. So, and well, the other thing is, of course, moving around the country, moving around the world. That helps too. Like in your case, like what happens in Aussie stays in Aussie, kind of a thing.
I still have friends from those days, and they've also grown past. So I hear from them. Hey, how's it going? Oh, that's all right. Yeah, it's good.
Now, you are an author, and it would be so rude for you not to show your book. It would be so rude not to tell us a little bit about your book. What is really making you hot and excited at the moment? Come on, brother. Slave Boy.
That's book one.
Okay.
Book one in the Demok Chu series. Now, Demok Chu, in the language of one of the races in the book, stands for Demon Child. So Demok Chu series is 9 books long. Book 2 is written. Book 2 is already the proofreaders, and we're hoping to have that out June, July. I've already started writing book 3. In fact, I'm about 4 or 5 chapters into it.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. And there is something. Netflix, move over. Come on. Hey, guys, go back to the good old-fashioned, the kind of, let's turn the page, or a bit more modern, flip the page on your whatever device you're reading.
I have both. I mean, I prefer a book, a paperback, but I do have the ebook for traveling on long flights because having 6 or 7 novels, that gets bulky in your suitcase. My first trip to the USA, I was buying books as I was going, and I think I came back with 7 big, thick novels. That's a lot of weight. You do the same.
Absolutely. I'm renowned for that.
I did that with shoes as well. I'm a shoe fiend. I came back from my first US trip with 5 pairs of shoes. I couldn't help myself. I love it. I love shoes.
Whatever makes you happy. That is everything in moderation, including moderation. Okay, so if shoes are putting a smile on your face.
Oh, definitely. Love shoes.
Fantastic. Right. Nath, I'm so honored that you came onto my show. It's so beautiful to talk to someone who has decided to change his tack completely, who has decided to embrace himself, to get to know himself to start off with, the real him, not the kind of facade, not the kind of, you got to know a few of the other yous in Aussie, and now you decided, actually, okay, I know them.
Yeah, but it's funny because my journey started about 10 years ago at 32. I heard a comment from a friend had said, I was a 32-year-old loser with no direction in life. And that stuck. That was the beginning of the anger that made me say, oh, is that what I am? Hold my beer, That's because that started it for me. And that was, I believe, in some ways, anger's a gift.
Yeah.
It can very much motivate you and drive you. And that's where the journey started for me when I started looking inwards. Okay, what's my character flaws? What am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
How do I treat people around me? What do I want to achieve? What's my drive? That comment started at 10 years ago, and now I'm a published author. I do stand-up comedy, and I'm very happy. I found my calm, which is the way I describe it now. I found my calm. So,
still with a sprinkle of madness. So no, that's all cool.
Madness, cocaine. No, I'm joking.
No, these are the other sprinkles.
Yeah.
I always wondered why you were sniffing the sweets.
Yeah.
If there's, oh no, sorry, that was sugar. Anywho, no, Nath, it's brilliant to talk to you because you gave me permission to dream. Your story gives me the freedom to actually say, well, if he can get his shit together, what could be my next step? Should I try stand-up comedy?
Why not?
Why not? Improv kind of thing.
And whereabouts are you, Stefan?
I'm in Rotorua. in Rotorua.
Okay.
So, and I'm sure there's a bloody good scene somewhere here. But
Hamilton has a scene. Yep. Palmy North has a scene. I lived in Palmy for 6 months.
All right.
The North Island comedy circuit, you've got Hamilton, you've got Napier, you've got Wanganui, you've got Palmerston North. There's a lot of comedy going on in that wee centre. So
nice,
if you ever decide you want to, contact me.
Yeah.
I know all the producers. I will send them your way.
So here you guys. Did you see what just happened? I actually just opened myself up that little bit, and suddenly opportunities arise. What waits for you guys? What was to happen if you just open up that little bit? What will shine through? What will pop in? Will there be the new you waiting for you there? The new you that you don't even know yet about? But what stops you? Probably only you yourself. That's the reality. Oh my God, but if I would do that, oh my God, what would they say? Oh, fuck it. They typically don't really give a damn about you, and people will anyhow talk about you behind your back. You might as well give them something to talk about, and you choose what they talk about, okay? So life is too short, guys. Out there, come on, you can do it. Nath got his act together. I got my act together. What stops you? Nath, I'm so grateful that you came onto my show. Honestly, you gave me permission to find the nutty, creative, crazy boy in me, who sometimes gets a bit lost, sometimes is, and I
think we've all been lost in our life at some stage. I mean, you've all got to go through that at some stage in life. I think it's an important part of growing up. I just made a lifestyle out of it. So, don't do that. Visit it and go through it. Don't live in the moment like I did,
For several years or decades.
Yeah.
That's right.
32 years almost,
Hey, okay, that was then. The past does not equal the future. And we both have proven that. Cool. Mm-hmm. So guys out there, you heard the message loud and clear. The past does not equal the future. So choose right now. You switch off here. The very first choice you need to make is, do I subscribe or not subscribe to this button? And of course, you will subscribe. The second choice then is, do I actually want to have a look at what Nath is actually doing? And if you want to do that, look down there into the description of this video and of this podcast, because his social media links are down there, and you can check out Slave Boy and all other future cool developments that are coming. And maybe we get a tour going, and soon traveling New Zealand for the comedy once you heat up again. And then we'll take it from there. So guys,
sounds good.
Look out after yourself. Go out there, make this life worthwhile. And Nath, to you again, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me on. It's been so much fun.
Absolutely. Bye.